Hi everyone. Thank you for being here with me today. For my project, I chose to talk about why inclusion is important for all beings. This topic really connects to the work I do every day as a preschool teacher, especially because my classroom welcomes children with many different abilities, backgrounds, and needs. I've learned that inclusion isn't just something that we should do. It truly transforms how children feel, learn, and connect. Today, I want to share what I've learned and how all of us can use these ideas in our everyday teaching in our lives. When I talk about inclusion, I'm talking about an environment where everyone feels like they belong. Inclusion means everyone in the classroom is valued, supported, and able to participate in a way that works for them. It also means that we change the environment to meet children where they are. Instead of expecting a child to adapt to our routines and expectations, we adapt to our routines to make sure that every child can be successful. Why inclusion matters for educators. For educators, inclusion improves understanding inclusion and its needs. Inclusion actually makes us stronger as educators. When we focus on including all students, we learn more about child development, individual needs, and how to adjust our teaching in the classroom. It also helps us manage behaviors better because so many behaviors come from communication challenges or feeling dysregulated in the classroom. Inclusion encourages us to be creative and flexible to the children, but also strengthens our relationship with the families as well. Why inclusion matters for children. For children, inclusion has huge benefits. Research shows that when children learn in inclusive environments, they build confidence and have better self-esteem. They also develop social and emotional skills faster because they're interacting with peers who are different from them. Children in inclusive classrooms build stronger friendships and feel less stigma between each other, and get more chances to participate in meaningful ways. These benefits don't just help children with disabilities, they help every child in the classroom. I can kind of relate to this because one of my children, or two of my children, they live together, but they also go to school together and they're constantly relying on each other. So we're trying to build stronger peer relationships with other children, and not have them together with each other 24/7 because we want them to branch out and build their self-confidence by themselves and not try to rely on each other as much. So some course connections that I've made throughout learning in this course. One that we talked about is Eli's story in Module 4. It showed how even small acts of inclusion can impact a child deeply, and how little adjustments can make a child feel supported and understood as a whole. Another one is the Through My Eyes activity. This helps us understand the world from another person's perspective and build empathy for people with different abilities and experiences. It reminds us that we don't often see the challenges children face in the world. It's our jobs as educators and adults to try to help these children understand their world, but not fit into ours perfectly because we know that they're still children, they're developing, so they can't fit into our world exactly, but we want to try to help them build their world. We also learned about disability as a social construction. This means that people often become disabled not just because of their condition, but because of society's barriers. The idea completely changed the way I looked at our classroom. Um, I don't want any barriers just because someone is different or looks different. That does not mean there should be any barriers in the classroom. In the TED Talk by Charlotte McLean Lapo, excuse me if I pronounced that wrong, emphasize that inclusion benefits the entire community. So when we build supportive systems in our classroom, in our environments, everybody grows in that environment, not just the child who needs that accommodation or has that disability. Everybody in the environment and the community grows as a whole. I also want to be realistic. I know inclusion comes with some challenges and some barriers. So some of the barriers that we face include assumptions about what children can or can't do. I know a lot of the times in my classroom, I always say, "Oh, I know they can't do that," but they always prove me wrong. Trust me, they always prove me wrong, and I know that they tell me, Miss Caitlin, I can do it, and I always say, "Yes, you did do it." So I try not to make assumptions um, of certain children because I know I'm just putting that negative impact on them already before they even do the activity or do what I'm asking them to do. Another barrier is not having enough adult support. Um, these challenges don't just mean we can't do inclusion, they just mean that we need to be aware of them and work together to overcome them. So same thing, working with the parents, trying to have that strong relationship with the parents so there are no barriers. There are so many simple things we can do to start immediately making our classroom inclusive, or not just our classroom, but um, even in our daily lives with children with disabilities and how to give them those inclusive strategies. So some examples include visual schedules and picture supports, offering multiple ways to participate in activity. So not just by raising your hand, you can have them dance, or if a person's shy, yeah, if a person's shy to raise their hand, you can have them dance. Sometimes I have the children clap 2 times if they want to talk. So there's just different ways for you can have to have the kids participate. Social stories help children understand routines, and sensory tools can help kids regulate their emotions. One of the most important strategies is remembering that behavior is communication. So instead of trying to reach to the behavior, we try to understand why that behavior is happening in the first place. So I don't just say, get over here, you need to sit down. And no, I try to go talk to them, see why that happened, why they hit the child, um, why they aren't doing their work, why they aren't having that motivation to do it. So there's always certain things behind the behavior that we always look into as well. I've seen inclusion worked firsthand in my classroom. For example, we have children who prefer standing or sitting on wiggle seats during circle time. So as you see in this picture right here, it's something that we put on the legs of the chairs. A lot of the kids who cannot sit still during circle time or have a hard time sitting on the rug, this helps them manage their wiggles. They can kind of kick the chair, just kind of put their feet on it so it maintains those wiggles. And it gives them that flexibility to participate without feeling uncomfortable sitting at the rug. We also use simple, clear language with visuals during transitions, and we offer choices throughout the day. So we tell the children you can do puzzles, or you can do coloring, or you can do coloring, or you can do the centers. There's just certain options that we try to give the kids to not make it a um, I feel like a military-based school where they're just constantly doing the same thing. We like to give the kids options. Oops. Inclusion just isn't about the academic parts. It's also about empathy. And one of the best ways to build empathy is through stories, exposure to different lived experiences, and diverse experiences and imagining what someone else has gone through. Um, I know a lot of the times, even in my college coursework, that I've related to or I've understood so many more things because people have stories related to it. It kind of gives me more of that background information of what exactly I'm trying to pinpoint that I'm trying to look for that. Um, I want you to take a moment and think about a child who often struggles in your life. What might their day feel like? What emotions might they be carrying that we don't see? Um, I feel like this helps us remember why inclusion matters because even though you may not see that disability, you may not see that emotion, there is always something inside that we know that the child is struggling with. So I kind of want to do an activity. I know we're all kind of sitting here watching through everybody's presentations and learning everything. So I kind of wanted to do this activity while you're watching it. Um, I want to say stand up if you've ever felt left out in your life. Stand up if you've ever needed help but didn't know how to ask. Stand up if you've ever felt different. What is one inclusive practice you can think of I can add to my daily routine in my classroom to help children not feel so lonely in the classroom? So I just wanted to add some key takeaways in the classroom. As we finish, I want to leave you on some of these. Inclusion is not just extra work, it is better work. Um, all children benefit from inclusive practices. Small changes really do make a big difference in our lives. Inclusion helps build empathy and community, and inclusion equals valuing humanity. So it's about valuing every child as a human being, not just as the little individual they are, but as a whole individual human being as well. And these are my references. I just wanted to say thank you so much for spending the time with me and learning about inclusion.